again, the Rock Doctor, coming at you live with yet another installment of Rock Guitar 101. What the hell am I going to do today? Well, here it is. Let's talk about the 7 G major, E minor scale patterns and the corresponding G major and E minor pentatonic scale shapes. Let's look at them where they appear together. You know, in my mind, I see and hear the big scale and the pentatonic, the little guy, as one thing, along with some other stuff. While I do this, I'll go through each one, and then I'll also fly in some computer graphic fingers in the scales, so you don't have to look at my dry erase board so much, although I will use it because I like it. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with the 12th position. That's, for me, that was the beginning of everything when I learned how to use that E pentatonic scale way back when, and I found out that the E natural minor G major scale was in the same place. That was a huge, huge epiphany for me. A lightning bolt. And from there, I mapped everything else out over a period of several months, and worked on it for a few years, and still work on it. And everything else that I learned, I began to map out as well, all over the fingerboard, so I know where everything is. Now, but let me say one thing. If you can't string together 4 basic licks over a chord progression, none of this stuff is going to help you. It won't make you any better. In fact, most of my friends who play their asses off, I've lived all over the country, a lot of these guys, most of them don't know every scale everywhere or every arpeggio everywhere, but they can play their asses off because they know phrases and they know how to apply them to different keys and different songs. So that's really what's important as far as lead guitar goes. You've got to have a vocabulary of licks that you can use. Now, if you can do that, I call that flying the piper cub. You know, you can take off in a basic way, flying that little plane. It's not fancy, and you can fly it around, you can bring it back to the airfield, and you can land that son of a bitch without crashing it. That's what we're talking about. If you can't do that, then you don't need to be working on this shit. Really. But if you can, and you want to go a little further, go ahead. And here I am. But also, knowing all this extra stuff doesn't make you better than somebody who plays strictly out of the blues box. No, because you know what? It's the quality of those basic licks and what to do with them that's really important. You've got to be able to say something and make people feel something when you're playing. Doesn't matter how many things you know. It's the quality. It's how good those licks are. And your best way to do that is to learn from people who can play their asses off and learn what they do and incorporate it. But be that as it may, here we go. Dry erase board time. Look. Oh. Here. Yes, I mapped out every note of the E minor / G major scale there. Don't look at it. I mean, if you want to try it yourself, go ahead. It's a good way to learn, I suppose, and map it out. But I see all that in my head. It's one giant scale, really. Huh? But that's intimidating. But if you slice it up into little slices of pizza, here's what you got to look. Here's the first one. The E minor / G major scale in the 12th position. That's the first one I learned. And it's in the same position. Look, the red scales there, see? Those are our pentatonics. Some of these overlap, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. But here we go. So let's just call this one scale number 1. In the 12th position. Look at it. I'll fly the graphic into both of these so you can see them more clearly. But there they are. Let me go ahead then and play this guy. I'll just slowly. Okay. Here we go. So E minor pentatonic, which is also G major pentatonic. I mean, E natural minor is also G major. They have the same notes, and they're in the same spot. All right, here we go. On the low E string, here's what I have. I've got 12, 14, 15. On the A string, same thing, 12, 14, 15. On the D string, 12, 14, and 16. On the G string, 12, 14, 16. On the B string, it's 13, 15, 17. And on the high E string, I've got 14, 15, and 17. You can make that into an exercise by playing up and down with it, you know. Yeah. Now, let's look at the pentatonic scales in that position. E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic. They're both the same. Here we are. In the 12th position on the low E string, I've got 12 and 15. On the A string, 12 and 14. D string, same thing, 12, 14. G string, 12 and 14. B string, 12 and 15. High E, 12 and 15. So there's that one. Okay, back to the dry erase board. Take a look. In the 10th position, I have this shape. To me, the one in the 10th position and the 12th position, I use both of these when I'm thinking about the 12th position E pentatonic. They kind of overlap. So here is this guy. Let me go ahead and play the E natural minor / G major scale in the 10th position. Here we go. On the low E string, I've got this, 10, 12, and 14. Same thing on the A, 12, 10, 12, 14. On the D, same thing, 10, 12, 14. On the G, I've got 11, 12, 14. Now I shift up to get the rest of this, and again, I have 3 notes on every string. It's easier in the long run, I think, to play through these things this way. On the B string, I've got 12, 13, 15. And on the B string, I have E string, I have 12, 14, 15. It's up to you on the fingerings, really. Sometimes I use my pinky down there. Sometimes I don't. Either way, it's okay. All right, so in my mind, when I'm playing that E natural minor scale or G major scale, my other go-to things, if I want to break out of it into blues, are the 12th position guy again, E minor, pentatonic, G major. Or the 10th position, E minor / G major pentatonic, which is this. Let me walk you through that now. On the low E string, 10, 12. Oh! On the A string, 10, 12. On the D string, 9, 12. G string, 9, 12. B string, 10, 12. High E, 10, 12. So, all that is one thing in my mind, okay? Next, back to the dry erase board again, look. Now we're in the 8th position for the E natural minor or G major scale. So let me play that one, and then I'll play the corresponding pentatonic again for that. All right, so here we have it. In the 8th position, the E natural minor / G major scale. Okay, here we go. On the top string, 8, 10, 12. On the A string, it's 9, 10, 12. D string, same thing, 9, 10, 12. On the G string, it is 9, 11, 12. On the B string, I'm going to play 10, 12, 13. And the high E string, I'm going to play 10, 12, 14. And my go-to pentatonic there, well, I guess I do 2 of them. The 10th fret one again. That one. But sometimes I'll go to the 7th position one, which I'll cover in 1 second. Just hang on. All right. Now let's go back to the dry erase board and look at the 7th position, E natural minor, G major pentatonic. There is also a pentatonic shape right there, right in line with it. So let's look at those 2. Here we go. 7th position, E natural minor / G major. Here we go. On the low E string, I've got 7, 8, 10. On the A string, 7, 9, 10. On the D, same thing, 7, 9, 10. On the G string, it's 7, 9, 11. Then I shift up a fret to get to the B string, it's 8, 10, 12. High string, also 8, 10, 12. And on this one, the pentatonic there is right in the same position. It's this. 7, 10 on the low E. 7, 10 on the A. 7, 9 on the D. 7, 9 on the G. 8, 10 on the B. 7, 10 on the high E. Another highlight here is, I find that one, and I use it a lot, it's my second favorite pentatonic shape. I reference where that E note is. It's on the A string. So if I find that E note, that's how I find my way around almost everything. I know where the root note is for whatever position I'm in, and so I don't get lost. But that's how I find it. Also, if you think about it, the shape of that pentatonic on the A string there, that 7/10, look, that's the same thing, distance-wise, shape-wise, as the E pentatonic number 1. Look, up here. See the shape? Same distance. Got a big stretch, 3 little stretches. Then a big stretch. Look what happens over here. Same thing. On the A string, look, big stretch from 7 to 10. 3 little ones. This one's offset because of the tuning. Then a big stretch. It's the same notes. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's go now to the the 5th position, 5th fret area for E natural minor G major, and I've got the corresponding pentatonic there as well. Okay, here we go. In the 5th position, E natural minor G major is this. On the low E string, it's 5/7/8. On the A string, it's 5/7/9. On the D string, 5/7/9. On the G string, it's 5/7/9. Nice. But then, oh my gosh, look at this. On the B string, it's 7/8/10. And so, also on the high E, 7/8/10. The pentatonic there in the 5th position is this. 5/7 on top. A string 5/7. D string 5/7. B string 4/7. I should say, did I say G string? G string 4/7. I don't know. B string 5/8. And the high E is 5/7. All right, just a couple left. Okay, here's where we are now. 3rd position. Here we go. So the E natural minor / G major scale in the 3rd position is this. On the low E, it's 3/5/7. On the A, same thing, 3/5/7. On the D, also the same, 3/5/7. Oh wait, sorry. 4/5/7. It's been a long day. 4/5/7 on the D. Sorry guys. G string is 4/5/7. B string is 5/7/8. So is the high string 5/7/8. And the pentatonic for that in the 3rd position is this. On the low E string 3/5. On the A string 2/5. On the D string 2/5. On the G 2/4. On the B 3/5. On the high E 3/5. And that takes us back. Now I don't have this one written out. Well, here's the 2nd position one. Let me do that one. All right, here is the E natural minor G major scale in the 2nd position. I almost forgot about it. All right, on the low E string, it is this. 2/3/5. On the A string, it's also 2/3/5. On the D string, it's 2/4/5. On the G string, 2/4/5. On the B string, oh no, it's a stretchy, 3/5/7. High string also 3/5/7. And that pentatonic in the 3rd position again. Here's what we have: 3/5, 2/5 on the A. D string 2/5. G string 2/4. B string 3/5. High E string 3/5. Now I didn't have this one written down for you, but the open position for the E natural minor / G major scale is this. On the top string, it's 0, 2, 3. On the A string, also 0, 2, 3. On the D string, it's 0, 2, 4. On the G string, 0, 2, 4. On the B string, it's 1, 3, 5. And on the high string, it is 2, 3, 5. And then we have the pentatonic scale shape in the open position for E natural, E minor pentatonic, or G major pentatonic, which is on top 0, 3. A string is 0, 2. D string 0, 2. G string 0, 2. B string 0, 3. High E 0, 3. there they all are. So what the hell should you do with them? Well, what I did initially, once I had them all mapped out, was, I spent a little time, not a lot, but every day I would warm up with all this stuff, all of it. It won't take that long. And you can just play from low to high, high to low, and strive for eighth notes, Once you get the fingerings memorized, then try to play along with a metronome or a drum track so you can lock in and play 2 notes on a beat. That's a good way to start. You don't want to overload yourself and try to play, 16th notes or anything crazy. Keep it simple. Ba, 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 ba. And once you get that where you're comfortable, then you can try to turn a track on and play along with it and try to phrase a little bit, The chords will kind of tell you when to break your stride there with your licks, but most of the time, lots of the time, our licks last for 2 measures. Mm-hmm. Most chords are set up that way, most chord progressions. You've got 2 chords that pair up, and there's a little musical idea there, and your lick follows that. And you can try that. And it's okay if you try and you fall on your face, because really what you want to do is you want to stop that lick on a chord tone. Just use your ear. You can also think about it. You can be analytical as well, but just try it. It's kind of fun, but hey, don't spend all your time doing this shit. The most important thing you can do really as a guitar player is learn how to play all your songs, 30 or 40 songs all the way through. Mm-hmm. All the way through. You don't have to get every nuance, but be able to, play along with the track without screwing up. Yeah. Get all the way through it. In a rudimentary way, you can always add all the icing on the cake if there's some, cool stuff going on there, some intricate stuff. You can add that later, but get through the basics of it first. That's important. And learn your basic licks and how to apply them to those songs. And steal some of those licks as well. All right, let me turn on this backing track. This is my backing track in E. And I'm just going to play, I'll play a couple of the positions. I'll start in the 12th position. I'm not going to do anything fancy, though. Let me turn it on. There's the groove. So 8 notes would be 1, 2, 4, right? So I'm just gonna play along with it, but not gonna do anything fancy. You see what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Keep it simple. Pentatonic! Big scale! Stuff like that! Yeah. So give it a shot, guys and gals, and I guess that's good enough for now. I guess that's it. Yeah. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, order me a pizza, find me a hot chick bass player, and I'm out of here. I love you. Bye.